Tired of boring tools and plain pens? Let me show you how I turn these into these. Tell me these are not the cutest weeding tools and pens ever. I know you want one. Hey, I'm Perla from DIYholicc, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own beaded pokey weeding tools and beaded pens. These are such a fun DIY that anyone can create. I love how customizable these are, and they also make great gifts for friends and family. I'll walk you through everything step by step, so let's get started. Let's start with the pokey tools first. Here's what you'll need: craft super glue, a small manual hand drill, cutting pliers, large upholstery needles, silicone earring backings, a variety of large beads, and of course, some fun focal beads. For my focal beads, I love using Doorables. If you haven't seen these before, they're little collectible figurines of cute characters. You can find them in big mystery packs on Amazon or at any retail store, or sometimes individually at stores like Dollar Tree. Honestly, half the fun is opening them because you never know which character you'll get. They have tons of collections, but for this project, they're perfect because they make adorable focal beads for both the pokey tools and the pens. If Doorables aren't really your thing, no worries, you can still use silicone focal beads instead. There's a big variety of styles and colors to choose from, so you can really make these match your vibe. Now let me give you a quick overview of the other beads I'll be using. I love flower spacer beads in both gold and silver, wavy spacers, and colorful spacers. These are totally optional, but I do recommend them because they help fill in small gaps and make your designs look more elevated. Here's how I keep everything organized. On one side, I have my Doorables and focal beads stored, along with the pen refills. On the other side, I keep all of my larger beads sorted out by color. Organizing them this way makes it so much easier to see what you have and quickly pick out the colors without having to dig through a mix of different colors. In my stash, I've got acrylic beads, rhinestone beads, patterned beads, glitter beads, silicone lentil beads, wavy beads, and my personal favorite, faux fur pom-pom beads. They come in so many colors and always add that fun, playful touch. I'll have the links to all of the supplies I'm using listed in the description box for you. Alright, let's start by making the weeding pokey tools. First, I pick out the focal beads and spacers I want to use for each one, and I separate them in a container. This just helps keep things from rolling around. Once I've decided on those, I move on to the larger bead section and pick out coordinating colors to match my focal bead. I recommend pulling a few extra beads too. It makes it easier to rearrange patterns while you're working instead of going back and forth looking for more. Now let's prep the needles. Take your cutting pliers and snip off the eye of the top of the upholstery needle. That part is slightly wider, and if you don't remove it, your beads won't slide on properly. It comes off pretty easily with just a quick snap. After that, take a silicone earring backing and slide it onto the needle from the pointy end, leaving about 2 inches of space at the tip. That's what will hold your beads in place. I went ahead and prepped a few needles just like this before moving on. Next, I'm using my bead board to plan the design. I unload all of the beads, spacers, and the focal beads onto the board. Then I play around with different arrangements until I like the pattern. Once I'm happy with it, I start sliding the beads onto the needle from the trimmed end. I love adding silver spacers because they give the design a little extra sparkle. And of course, I usually add a faux fur pom-pom bead. It just makes the tool look so fun and unique. When you get to the focal bead, you'll notice that the Doorables usually don't have a hole that goes deep enough. This is where the manual drill comes in handy. Just twist until it's deep enough to fit on the uncovered needle, then add a good amount of super glue to the tip of the needle and press the Doorable down firmly for about 30 seconds until the glue cures. If you're using silicone focal beads instead, it's the same process, but since they have holes on both the top and bottom, I recommend adding a little extra glue at the top to seal them in place. If you ever notice your beads feeling a little loose, just slide your silicone earring backing up to tighten everything together. And here's how they turned out. These pokey tools work just like a weeding pen or hook, but way cuter. The chunky beads actually make them pretty comfortable to hold, and the sharp needle tip makes it super easy to weed tiny details like this iron on vinyl design I'm working on here. Now let's move on to the pens. For these you will need beadable pen blanks. They come in all sorts of finishes such as glossy, glittery, metallic, and even holographic. I start by picking out which pen base matches my focal bead the best. Then I gather the spacers and coordinating beads, and just like before, I separate them into little containers so that they don't roll all over my table. The pen only has space for beads on the top half, so you'll need fewer beads than with the pokey tool. Once I've decided on a pattern, I take the pen apart by removing the little cap and the metal piece at the top with pliers. To make it more secure, I add a small amount of glue before twisting the metal part back into place. This step really helps prevent the pen from falling apart or anything like that while you're using it. Then I just slide on my beads until I'm happy with the design. When I get to the focal bead, I use the same method as before, drill the hole a little deeper if needed, then glue it to the top so it stays secure. If you're using silicone focal beads, you can actually use that little cap we removed earlier to lock it in place at the end. For example, when I made this pen with a sunflower focal bead, it took up most of the space, so I only needed a couple of other beads. It still turned out really cute though. I went ahead and repeated the same process for the rest of the pens, and I just love how each one has its own personality depending on the bead combo. And that's it for today's DIY. I hope you had fun watching me make these beaded pokey tools and pens, and hopefully you got inspired to try making some of your own. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time with a new DIY.